Sign it, he said, pushing the pen into her trembling hand. She couldn't see where the line was, couldn't see his face anymore, couldn't see the disgust she knew was there. I can't. I don't know where. Jesus Christ, Vanessa. His hand gripped hers, forcing the pen down. Even this you can't do, right? The paper rustled. His phone buzzed. Mr. Chen? A voice on speaker. We need Mrs. Chen's signature to proceed with the acquisition. The $2.3 billion. He hung up. Fast. Too fast. She smiled for the first time in months. You didn't tell them we're divorcing yet, did you, Daniel? Before we continue with what happens next, if you've ever been underestimated by someone who thought they knew your worth, this story is for you. Subscribe now, because Vanessa's revenge isn't loud or violent. It's quiet, devastating, and absolutely satisfying. And you won't want to miss a single moment of what she does next. The man who called her a burden is about to learn exactly what he threw away. Now, let's go back to where it all started falling apart. The office smelled like bergamot and ambition. Vanessa Chen stood at the floor-to-ceiling window of her corner office, 47 floors above Shanghai, watching the city glitter like a circuit board. She was 31, CEO of Vertex Innovations, a tech empire she'd built from a college dorm room idea and a $10,000 loan from her grandmother. Forbes called her the silent titan. She didn't do interviews, didn't attend galas, just worked. Her assistant Maya knocked twice. The Singapore deal closed, $340 million. Good. Vanessa didn't turn around. Numbers were easy. People were the variable that broke equations. Also, when your mother called again? Vanessa's jaw tightened. Tell her I'm in Tokyo. You told her that last week. Then tell her I'm still there. Maya hesitated. She said it's about a match. Someone from the Chin family. No. Vanessa, I said no. She finally turned, her expression unreadable. I don't need my family arranging my life like I'm a merger. But loneliness wasn't something you could code away. And Vanessa Chen, for all her billions, went home every night to an empty penthouse and microwave leftovers eaten standing at the kitchen island. She'd stopped noticing years ago. Daniel Zhao was beautiful in the way that made people forgive him too easily. At 34, he was a mid-level marketing director at a luxury automotive firm. Respectable enough, charming enough, but not exceptional. When he lived in a nice apartment his parents helped him afford, drove a leased BMW, and had a rotation of dates that never quite became relationships. You're afraid of commitment, his younger sister told him over hot pot. I'm selective, Daniel corrected, picking at his beef. You're 34 and alone. So is Elon Musk, he grinned. Approximately. His sister rolled her eyes. Mom wants you to meet someone. God, not another setup. She's accomplished, successful. Pretty from what I hear. Daniel's interest flickered. How successful? Does it matter? He shrugged, but the truth was, yes. He wanted someone impressive, someone who made him look good. Love could come later, or not. Marriage was a partnership, and Daniel Zhao always believed in mutually beneficial partnerships. He just didn't know he was about to become the smaller party in the negotiation. The restaurant was the kind where menus didn't have prices. Vanessa arrived late, which she always did to business dinners. Control the room by making it wait. But when she walked in and saw Daniel Zhao standing beside her mother, something unexpected happened. He smiled, genuinely, and pulled out her chair himself. Not for show, just because. Vanessa Chen, he said, I've heard you're terrifying. She blinked. And I like terrifying. His eyes caught the light. Means you're honest. Her mother beamed. The matchmaker looked smug. Vanessa felt something she hadn't felt in years. Curiosity. Daniel didn't know about Vertex. Vanessa never told him. She introduced herself as a consultant, not technically a lie, and he never pushed. He liked that she was smart, that she challenged him, that she didn't need him to pay for everything but let him anyway, because it made him feel useful. He took her to night markets and taught her how to bargain for dumplings. She took him to art galleries and explained why a painting was worth millions. They fit. "What do you want?" he asked one night, lying beside her in his apartment, her head on his chest. "From what?" "Life, love, all of it." Vanessa was quiet for a long time. "I want someone who stays." Daniel kissed her forehead. "I'm not going anywhere." She believed him. It was small, intimate. Vanessa wore a simple silk gown that cost more than most weddings, but Daniel didn't know that. Her mother cried. His parents looked proud. "You make me feel like I'm enough," Daniel whispered during their first dance. Ooh, Vanessa closed her eyes, leaning into him. "You are." What she didn't say, "I've never felt like I was enough for anyone." What she didn't know, Daniel's pride was a fragile, hungry thing. The headaches started in month 23. Vanessa ignored them. Then came the blurred vision, the stumbling. The day she collapsed in her secret office and woke up in a hospital with Maya gripping her hand and a neurologist using words like optic nerve degeneration and potentially irreversible. "Can you fix it?" Vanessa asked. "We can try to slow it." "Success rate?" Low." She went blind over 6 months. Slowly, then suddenly. Like trust disappearing. She told Daniel on a Tuesday. "It's getting worse," she said, sitting at their dining table, hands folded. "The doctors say I'll be fully blind within weeks." He stared at her. "Fully?" "Yes." Silence. "Go to Daniel?" I need to think." He left the room. She heard the bedroom door close. He didn't come back out until morning. At first, Daniel tried. He guided her through the apartment, read her the mail, but frustration crept in like mold, slow, then everywhere. "I can't find the remote," Vanessa said one evening. "It's right there." His voice was tight. "Where?" "Right there, Vanessa." "I can't see right there." "Well, maybe if you just tried." She stopped asking for help. He started staying late at work, then later, then overnight. "I have a presentation," he'd say, "a client dinner." "You wouldn't understand." She understood perfectly. "I can't do this anymore." Vanessa froze. She was in the kitchen, fingers trailing the counter edge, trying to make tea. Daniel's voice came from the doorway. "Can't do what?" "This. Us." I didn't sign up to be a caretaker, Vanessa." Her hand found the counter, gripped it. "I never asked you to take care of me." "You can't do anything yourself anymore." His voice cracked. "I have to do everything. I make my own meals. I navigate our home. You're a burden." The word landed like a slap. "And I'm tired. I'm tired of coming home to this." "To your wife?" "To someone who needs me for every goddamn thing and gives me nothing back." She wanted to scream, "I'm still me. I'm still Vanessa. I still have everything I built." But she didn't, because the woman Daniel married was a consultant, a normal woman, not a billionaire CEO who'd been secretly running her empire through encrypted voice commands in Maya's hands. She'd kept the secret to protect them, to be loved for herself, not her money. Now the secret was a cage. "Shorn, I want a divorce," Daniel said. Vanessa turned toward his voice, eyes unfocused. "You're serious?" "I already called a lawyer." If you've ever loved someone who saw you as a problem to solve instead of a person to cherish, you know this ache. Stay with her. It gets worse before it gets better. The conference room smelled like leather and expensive lies. Vanessa sat with her hands folded on the table, head tilted slightly as she listened to the space around her. Daniel was across from her. She could hear his breathing, shallow and impatient. His lawyer shuffled papers. Her own lawyer, someone Maya had hired without asking questions, sat rigidly beside her. "This is a standard dissolution," Daniel's lawyer began. "No-fault divorce. Mr. Zhao is willing to offer a settlement of $200,000 as a gesture of goodwill." Vanessa almost laughed. "On our $200,000. She'd made that in interest while sleeping last night. Given Mrs. Zhao's condition and her limited employment prospects, we believe this is more than fair." "Limited employment prospects," Vanessa repeated softly. "Vanessa," her lawyer whispered. "Don't." But she turned toward where she knew Daniel sat. "You think I can't work because I'm blind? Can you?" Daniel's voice was cold, unfamiliar. Be honest. Honest. The word tasted like poison. Sign the papers, Daniel continued. Take the money. Move on. I am. Her fingers found the edge of the document. Thick paper, expensive, the kind that ended things cleanly. There's a pen, Daniel's lawyer said, reaching across the table. Vanessa's hand trembled as she took it, not from fear, from rage so pure it felt like ice in her veins. Where do I sign? Bottom of page 3, the lawyer said slowly, like she was a child. Vanessa's hand hovered over the paper. She couldn't see the line, couldn't see Daniel's face, couldn't see the future she was about to step into. Her lawyer's hand covered hers. Vanessa, wait. You don't have to. Yes, she does, Daniel cut in. We both do. This is over. Over. 3 years of marriage. 6 months of blindness. A lifetime of believing someone when they said I'm not going anywhere. Vanessa pressed the pen down. Daniel's phone rang. Ignore it, he muttered. It rang again. He cursed, pulling it out. Glanced at the screen. His face went pale. I need to take this. Daniel, his lawyer started, but he was already answering, stepping toward the window. Yes? The voice on the other end was loud enough for Vanessa to hear. Young, male, and panicked. Mr. Chen, we've been trying to reach Mrs. Chen all morning. The Singapore board is waiting for her signature on the merger documents. The $2.3 billion transfer won't clear without... Wrong number, Daniel said quickly. Too quickly. Sir, this is her emergency contact number. We need... Daniel hung up. The room was silent except for the hum of the air conditioning. Vanessa tilted her head. That sounded important. It was nothing. His voice was tight. Telemarketer. A telemarketer asking for my signature on a $2.3 billion merger? She let the words hang in the air like smoke. That's specific. Daniel's lawyer leaned forward. Mrs. Zhao, do you have business holdings we should be aware of for asset division? No, Daniel answered for her. She was a consultant, small clients. Nothing worth... I didn't ask you, the lawyer said. All eyes turned to Vanessa. She sat perfectly still, face unreadable. Then slowly she smiled. It was the smile of someone who'd been playing chess while everyone else was playing checkers. Maya, she said softly. The conference room door opened. A woman in her late 20s entered. Sharp suit, sharper eyes, carrying a tablet and a leather briefcase. She moved with the efficiency of someone who managed empires before breakfast. Mrs. Chen, Maya said, her voice professional. I have the documents you requested. Daniel stared. Who the hell? My assistant, Vanessa said simply. Maya, could you please explain to my soon-to-be ex-husband what that phone call was about? Maya's expression didn't change. Of course, Mrs. Chen is the founder and majority shareholder of Vertex Innovations. Current valuation, $8.7 billion. The call was regarding our acquisition of Singapore Tech Solutions, pending her signature. The deal closes today at 5 p.m. The room went silent. Daniel's lawyer's pen clattered to the table. I'm sorry, Daniel's voice cracked. What? Maya continued, reading from the tablet. Mrs. Chen also holds controlling interest in 3 venture capital firms, a real estate portfolio across 7 countries valued at $340 million, and a personal liquid asset account of approximately $1.2 billion. She looked up. Should I continue? No, Vanessa said softly. I think that's enough. Daniel stood up so fast his chair scraped. This is insane. You're a consultant. I am a consultant, Vanessa agreed. I consult with boards of directors on how to spend billions of dollars. I just never mentioned which boards. You lied. I didn't lie. Her voice hardened. I just didn't correct your assumptions. Why? The word came out strangled. Why would you hide this? Vanessa turned toward his voice, her blind eyes somehow finding him anyway. Because I wanted you to love me, she said quietly. Not my money, not my company, not what I could do for your career or your ego. Just me. The silence was devastating. And you did, she continued, for a while, until I became inconvenient. Daniel's breathing was ragged. Vanessa, you called me a burden. Her voice didn't shake. You said I gave you nothing. That I needed you for everything and offered nothing in return. I didn't know. You didn't ask. She stood, Maya immediately at her elbow. You assumed that because I couldn't see, I was worthless. That I had nothing left to offer the world, or you. That's not, I wouldn't have. Wouldn't have what? Vanessa's voice was sharp as glass. Divorced me if you knew I was rich? Stayed with your blind wife if she came with $1 billion portfolio? Daniel's lawyer cleared his throat. Mr. Zhao, I think we should reconsider. No, Vanessa cut him off. We're not reconsidering anything. She turned to her own lawyer. The original settlement offer was $200,000, correct? Yes. Counter offer, he gets nothing. This is a no-fault divorce in name, but I have documented evidence of emotional abandonment, verbal abuse, and... She gestured to Maya, who pulled up something on the tablet. Shared text messages to his colleague Sarah discussing his blind wife situation and how he can't wait to be free. Daniel went white. You had someone watching me? I had someone making sure I was safe, Vanessa corrected. Turns out you were the thing I needed protecting from. Maya spoke up. Mrs. Chen is also prepared to offer a statement to your employer regarding misuse of company time and resources during your extracurricular activities. That's, you can't. I can, Vanessa said simply, and I will. Unless you sign these papers right now, take nothing, and disappear from my life forever. This is blackmail. This is business. She tilted her head. You should recognize it. You were willing to marry it after all. You just didn't know you already had. Daniel's lawyer whispered urgently in his ear. Daniel's hands were shaking. You're really going to do this? He asked. Destroy me? Vanessa's expression softened just slightly, and somehow that was worse. No, Daniel. You destroyed yourself the moment you decided I was only valuable when I could see. I'm just letting you live with that choice. She held out her hand. Maya placed a different set of papers in it. These are the real divorce documents. No settlement, no alimony. Clean break. Sign them. And if I don't? Then I make one phone call and every firm in this city knows exactly who you are and what you did. Your career will be over by dinner. It wasn't a threat. It was a fact. Daniel stared at her. This woman he thought he knew, thought he'd married, thought he could discard, and saw a stranger. Someone who'd always been 3 steps ahead. Someone who'd loved him anyway. Someone he'd thrown away like garbage. His hand trembled as he took the pen. I loved you, he said, voice breaking. Vanessa's jaw tightened. No, you loved the version of me that made you feel important. The version that needed you. That's not love, Daniel. That's ego. He signed. Maya collected the papers immediately, checking each signature with practiced efficiency. We're done here, Vanessa said. She turned toward the door, her hand finding Maya's arm with the ease of practice. Vanessa, Daniel's voice stopped her. What happens now? She paused in the doorway. You go back to your life. I go back to mine. And you get to spend the rest of yours wondering how different things could have been if you just loved me when I needed you most. I did love you. You loved what I could see, what I could reflect back to you. When the mirror broke, she shrugged. So did you. She walked out. Vanessa waited until the elevator doors closed before her composure cracked. Her hands found the wall, legs suddenly weak. Maya's arm was around her immediately. Breathe, Maya said softly. You did it. It's over. Why doesn't it feel over? Vanessa's voice was small, broken. Because you still loved him, even after everything. Vanessa's laugh was wet with tears. I'm so stupid. You're human. Maya pressed a tissue into her hand. And for what it's worth, you were magnificent in there. I was cruel. He earned cruel. The elevator descended. Vanessa's hand found her wedding ring. She'd worn it to the signing out of habit, out of some pathetic hope he'd change his mind, and slowly twisted it off. It felt like removing shrapnel. What do I do now? She whispered. Maya was quiet for a moment. Then, you remember who you are. Vanessa Chen. You built an empire from nothing. You survived going blind. You just survived this. The elevator dinged. Everything else? That's just the beginning. The doors opened. Vanessa stepped forward into whatever came next. She didn't see the man who stepped aside to let her pass. Dark suit, worried eyes, holding flowers like an apology he hadn't figured out how to deliver. She didn't see him watch her leave, something shifting in his expression. She didn't see him look down at the dropped wedding ring on the elevator floor, then up at the directory showing which law firm occupied the 14th floor. She didn't see any of it, but he saw her, and in 3 months that would change everything. Vanessa woke to the sound of rain against floor-to-ceiling windows she'd never see again. The penthouse was hers, always had been. Daniel had lived here like a guest for 3 years, never knowing the deed was in her name alone. Now it was just her, Maya's occasional visits, and the silence that felt less lonely than her marriage ever had. She reached for her phone on the nightstand, muscle memory now, and activated the voice assistant. "Good morning, Vanessa. It's 6:47 a.m. You have 3 board meetings today, a call with Tokyo at noon, and Maya says to remind you that you promised to eat actual breakfast, not just coffee." Vanessa smiled slightly. "Tell Maya I'm a grown woman." She predicted you'd say that. Her response is, "Grown women don't live on spite and espresso." "She's not wrong," Vanessa muttered, sitting up. When the morning routine was choreographed now. 15 steps to the bathroom, hand along the wall, everything in its place because displacement meant chaos, and Vanessa Chen did not do chaos. Shower. Clothes laid out by Maya the night before. Vanessa had insisted on choosing them herself, descriptions committed to memory, tailored black pants, silk blouse, the Cartier watch her grandmother gave her, armor disguised as elegance. Breakfast was toast and coffee because Maya wasn't here to judge her. By 8 a.m., she was in her home office, voice command software, translating the visual world into data she could navigate. Emails read aloud, documents converted to audio, video calls where she listened to voices instead of reading faces. She was adapting, she was surviving. She told herself that was enough. "Ida, the Q3 numbers are concerning," a board member said through the speaker. "Peterson, always Peterson." Vanessa leaned back in her chair, fingers steepled. "Concerning how?" "Revenue is down 6% in the Asian markets. And up 14% in Europe and North America," she countered smoothly. "Net growth is 8%. "That's not concerning, Peterson. That's strategic reallocation." Silence on the other end. She could feel the room recalibrating. "Mrs. Chen," another voice, Thornton, the CFO, "some shareholders are questioning whether your condition affects your ability to—" "To what?" Her voice was ice. "Run the company I built? Make decisions that have consistently outperformed market predictions? Or are they questioning whether a blind woman can possibly be competent?" "That's not what I—" "Then what are you saying?" More silence. "Mrs. Shina Chen is correct," Maya's voice cut in from beside her. "Since her transition, Vertex stock is up 11%. Acquisition success rate is at 94%. Employee retention has actually improved. If the shareholders have concerns, they're welcome to present data that contradicts performance." No one did. "Meeting adjourned," Vanessa said. "Peterson, I want the Southeast Asia strategy revision on my desk." She paused. "In my email by Friday. Maya will send the audio format requirements." She disconnected before anyone could respond. "You were scary," Maya said admiringly. "I was right," Vanessa corrected. "There's a difference." "Barely." Vanessa's phone buzzed. She tensed. Old habit. For 3 months, part of her still expected Daniel's name to appear. Apologies, begging, something. It never did. "It's Dr. Reeves," Maya said, reading the screen. "Your 2 p.m. appointment is confirmed." Vanessa's jaw tightened. "Cancel it." "Vanessa, I said cancel it. It's been 3 months. You promised you'd talk to someone. I talked to you. I'm your assistant, not your therapist." "You're better than a therapist. You actually know me." Maya sighed. "That's exactly why you need a therapist. Someone who doesn't know the you that you've decided to be. Someone who might help you find the you that you are." Vanessa turned toward Maya's voice. "Poetic. Did you rehearse that?" "Yes, in the car. Was it good?" Despite everything, Vanessa laughed. It was good. So you'll go? Fine. But if they ask me how blindness makes me feel, I'm leaving. Fair. The office smelled like lavender and old books. Dr. Reeves had a calm voice. Late 50s, probably, with the kind of steady tone that suggested nothing could shock her. Vanessa hated her immediately, which meant she was probably good at her job. Thank you for coming, Dr. Reeves said as Vanessa settled into what felt like a leather chair. I know this isn't easy. Paying $400 an hour to talk about my feelings? You're right, it's excruciating. We can start somewhere else if you'd prefer. Where? Why did you agree to come today? Vanessa was quiet. Then, my assistant is relentless. That's not an answer. It's the only one you're getting. Dr. Reeves didn't push, just waited. Silence as a tool. Vanessa recognized the tactic. She used it in negotiations. Fine, Vanessa said finally. I came because I'm tired of people asking if I'm okay when I'm clearly not. And I want better responses than I'm fine, so they'll stop asking. Are you fine? No. Good, that's a start. They sat in silence for a moment. How long has it been since the divorce? Dr. Reeves asked. 3 months, 1 week, 4 days. You're counting? I count everything. It's how I built a company. Is that why you hid your success from your husband? Control? Vanessa's hands tightened on the chair arms. I hid it because I wanted to be loved for myself, not my bank account. And how did that work out? The question should have been cruel, but Dr. Reeves' tone was genuinely curious, and somehow that made it worse. He left anyway, Vanessa said quietly. So I guess the money wouldn't have mattered. Do you believe that? I don't know what I believe anymore. Vanessa stood on the sidewalk, cane in hand, waiting for Maya to bring the car around. The city sounded different than it looked. She remembered that much. All rhythm and chaos, footsteps, traffic, someone's music bleeding from headphones, a street vendor calling out in Mandarin. Excuse me. The voice was male, close. Vanessa's grip tightened on her cane. I think you dropped this. She felt something pressed into her palm. Small, metal. Her fingers recognized it immediately. Her grandmother's Cartier watch. It must have fallen when you came out, the man continued. The clasp looks loose. Vanessa's heart hammered. She never took this watch off. Never. The clasp had been fine this morning, which meant he was lying, which meant he'd been watching her long enough to know she'd notice it was gone. Thank you, she said carefully, closing her fingers around the watch. But I didn't drop this. It was on my wrist. Pause. You're right, he said quietly. I'm sorry, I needed an excuse to talk to you, and I panicked. Vanessa's eyebrows rose. So you stole my watch? Borrowed, temporarily, without permission. He sounded genuinely embarrassed. This is going terribly. Spectacularly, Vanessa agreed. Who are you? Someone who's been trying to work up the courage to approach you for 3 months and apparently handles pressure very badly. 3 months, her voice sharpened. You've been following me? No, he exhaled. I saw you 3 months ago at the law offices on Charter Street. You walked out of an elevator and you looked like you just survived a war and won but didn't feel like celebrating. The divorce. Vanessa's stomach dropped. I picked up something you dropped then too, he continued. A ring. Wedding ring. I tried to return it, but you were already gone, and I didn't know how to find you without being creepy, which I've clearly failed at anyway. You still have it? Vanessa interrupted. Yes. Why? Silence, then softly. Because I couldn't stop thinking about the woman who walked away from something that hurt her. And I wanted to know if she was okay. Vanessa didn't know what to say. This man, this stranger, had been carrying her wedding ring for 3 months like a talisman, like proof she existed. I'm not okay, she said finally, but I'm working on it. That's all anyone can do. She heard him shift, like he was about to leave. Wait, Vanessa said. You never told me your name. Liam. A pause. Liam Foster. British? Half. My mother. The long story. And what do you do, Liam Foster, when you're not stealing watches from blind women? He laughed, surprised, genuine. I'm an architect. I design buildings, mostly commercial, some residential. And you spend your afternoons stalking therapy offices? Only when I'm trying to return stolen jewelry to women who intrigue me. Vanessa felt something unfamiliar flutter in her chest. Interest. Actual interest. And immediately she shut it down. I need to go, she said, voice cooling. My car is here. Of course, I'm sorry for… Liam. Yes? The watch and the ring. Bring them to Lotus Garden Restaurant tomorrow. 7 p.m. I'll have dinner sent to your table as thanks. We can call it even. She heard his breath catch. You're asking me to dinner? I'm settling a debt. There's a difference. Right. Yes. Of course. Vanessa turned toward where she knew Maya's car idled at the curb. Vanessa, Liam called. She paused. You're more than okay. You're extraordinary. She didn't respond, just walked to the car, Maya's hand guiding her elbow. But she was smiling, and she hated that she was smiling. Who was that? Maya asked immediately. No one. That was a long conversation with no one. A man who stole my watch. Maya hit the brakes. He what? As an excuse to talk to me. Relax. He's returning it tomorrow? And nothing. I'm thanking him for keeping my wedding ring. That's all. Vanessa Chen does not have dinner with strangers for nothing. Vanessa leaned her head against the window. Maybe I'm trying something new. Like what? Trusting people? Like seeing what happens when I don't control every variable. Maya was quiet for a long moment. Did it feel good? Talking to him? Vanessa thought about Liam's voice. The way he admitted his plan was terrible instead of doubling down. The way he'd noticed her 3 months ago and remembered. It felt dangerous, she said honestly. Good dangerous or bad dangerous? I don't know yet. Well, Maya pulled back into traffic. That's something at least. Vanessa couldn't sleep. She lay in bed, her fingers tracing the watch on her nightstand. Liam had fixed the clasp somehow before returning it. She'd felt the tightness when she put it back on, and tried to untangle what she was feeling. Daniel had left her because she was blind. This man, Liam, had noticed her because she was blind, or at least, her because she was surviving it. The difference terrified her, because Daniel had loved her when she was whole, or what he thought was whole, and Liam had seen her broken and stayed curious. Don't, she whispered to the empty room. Don't do this to yourself. But her phone was already in her hand, voice command activated. Search. Liam Foster, architect. The assistant read results. Award-winning sustainable design firm. Projects across Asia and Europe. A TED Talk about building spaces for people with disabilities. Her breath caught. Play the TED Talk. Liam's voice filled the room. We design for the majority and forget that spaces should serve everyone. A building that only works for people who can see, hear, walk. That's not architecture. That's exclusion with a blueprint. Vanessa closed her eyes, unnecessary habit, and listened. When I started thinking about this after my sister had a stroke, she was 29. Suddenly the world became hostile. Stairs without railings, elevators without audio cues, restaurants with menus she couldn't read. And I realized I'd been designing inaccessible spaces for years and calling it beautiful. His voice cracked slightly. Beauty that excludes isn't beauty. It's just aesthetics for the privileged. Vanessa's hand pressed against her chest. This man who'd noticed her, who'd kept her ring, who'd stuttered through stealing her watch. He understood, not just intellectually, personally. Dangerous, she whispered again. But she didn't cancel the dinner reservation. Vanessa arrived early. Maya had wanted to stay, but Vanessa refused. This needed to be whatever it was going to be, without handlers. The host guided her to a private table. Vanessa knew the restaurant's layout by heart, had memorized it years ago for business dinners, and she settled in, hands folded, heart racing. Can I get you anything while you wait? The server asked. Scotch, neat, and tell me when he arrives. Of course, Mrs. Chen. She sipped her drink and waited. At 6:58, the server returned. Mrs. Chen, your guest is here. Vanessa heard footsteps, a chair pulling out, the scent of rain and cedar. Hi, Liam said. Hi. Awkward silence. Then they both laughed. This is weird, right? Liam asked. I made this weird. You stole my watch. It was always going to be weird. Fair point. She heard him set something on the table. Your ring and your watch, again, with apologies. Vanessa's fingers found the ring, simple gold band, still warm from his pocket, and turned it over slowly. Thank you, she said, for keeping it. Did you want it back? No, but I'm glad it didn't end up in a trash can. What should I do with it? Vanessa was quiet. Then, keep it, melt it down, donate it, whatever feels right. That's a lot of trust for a stranger who steals jewelry. You gave me 3 months of your curiosity for nothing. The least I can do is trust you with a ring I don't want anymore. Liam was silent for a moment. Can I ask what happened? You already know what happened. You saw me leave that law office. I saw you leave. I don't know what you walked away from. Vanessa took a long sip of scotch. A marriage to a man who loved me until I became inconvenient. Because of your sight? Because I was no longer the reflection he wanted. Then he's an idiot. Vanessa smiled slightly. Most people say, I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I'm angry on your behalf. There's a difference. She tilted her head. You're strange, Liam Foster. I prefer refreshingly direct. That's not what I prefer. What do you prefer? Strange. It's more honest. They both smiled. The dinner arrived. Vanessa had pre-ordered, courses timed perfectly, and they ate and talked. And Vanessa realized she was laughing, actually laughing, for the first time in months. Liam told her about his sister's recovery, about designing a school for blind children in Thailand, about his terrible habit of rescuing injured birds and nursing them back to health in his apartment. You're a walking cliché, Vanessa said. Architect with a savior complex. Harsh but accurate. He paused. Can I ask you something? You've earned one question. What do you do? For work. You never said. Vanessa's smile faded. Here it was. The moment where everything changed. She could lie, keep the secret, protect herself, or she could risk it. I run a tech company, she said carefully. Vertex Innovations. Silence. Wait, the Vertex? The $8 billion? You're that Vanessa Chen? Her stomach dropped. Does that change things? Yes. Of course it did. It always did. Because now I'm even more terrified of you, Liam continued, and slightly concerned you're going to have me arrested for the watch thing. Vanessa exhaled. You're not upset I didn't tell you. Why would I be upset? We met yesterday, technically through theft. I don't think there's an Emily Post rule about disclosure requirements for crimes of jewelry acquisition. She laughed, surprised and genuine. Does it bother you? She asked quietly. The money, the company. Does it bother you that I design buildings? Of course not. Then why would your work bother me? Because it's not just work, it's everything. It's who I am. No, Liam's voice was firm. It's what you built. Who you are is the woman who showed up to a dinner with a stranger who stole from her because she wanted to see what would happen. That's courage. The $1 billion is just a side effect. Vanessa felt her throat tighten. You're dangerous, she whispered. Good dangerous or bad dangerous, she smiled. I don't know yet. Well, Liam said, here I have time to convince you. Vanessa's fingers traced the architectural model on Liam's desk. Miniature buildings with textured walls, tiny braille labels on every surface. You built this for the school in Thailand, she said softly. I built it for my sister first. She told me to stop being precious and actually use it. His voice came from the kitchen. Coffee or tea? Neither. Come here. She heard him move closer, felt his warmth beside her. What am I touching? She asked, fingers on a raised section. Sensory garden. Different textures, smooth stone, rough bark, water features. So kids can navigate by feel and sound, not just memory. It's beautiful. You can't see it. I can feel what you were thinking when you made it. Her hand stilled. You were thinking about love. Making something that protects people. Liam's breath caught. How do you know that? Because that's what love looks like. Invisible care. His hand covered hers on the model. Vanessa. I'm terrified of you, she whispered. I know. You should run. I'm I come with complications, trauma, an ex-husband who destroyed me, board meetings and billion-dollar decisions, and I can't even see your face. Stop. His thumb brushed her knuckles. I don't need you to see my face. I need you to trust that I'm staying. Everyone says that. I'm not everyone. He turned her hand over, palm up, and pressed something into it. Cold metal, familiar weight, her wedding ring. I was going to melt it down like you said, Liam explained quietly. But then I thought, what if you need to remember? Not the marriage, the survival. You walked away from someone who made you small. That's not nothing. Vanessa's fingers closed around the ring. Why do you care? Because when my sister had her stroke, her fiancé left, said he couldn't handle it. And I watched her rebuild herself piece by piece, convinced she'd never be loved again. His voice roughened. 2 years later, she met someone who saw her scars as proof she was a fighter. Not broken. They're married now. She's happy. What's your point? My point is, you're not broken, Vanessa. You're just afraid the next person will treat you like you are. She turned toward his voice. And you won't? I see exactly who you are. A woman who built an empire, who survived betrayal, who shows up to dinners with watch thieves because she's brave enough to try again. He paused. I see you, not what you lost, not what you can't do. You! Vanessa's breath shuddered. I want to kiss you, she said, but I don't know where you are. Here. Liam's hand cupped her face, thumb brushing her cheekbone. Always here. Their lips met, tentative, then certain, and for the first time since darkness took her sight, Vanessa felt seen. If you've ever needed someone to prove that you're still worth loving, this is that moment. The conference room went silent when Vanessa entered. Mrs. Chen, Peterson's voice dripped false concern. We need to discuss the merger. We approved it last week, Vanessa said, taking her seat. Circumstances have changed. There are concerns about leadership stability. Maya's hand tightened on Vanessa's shoulder. Warning. What concerns? Vanessa asked evenly. Your personal life. Rumors of a new relationship. So shareholders worry you're distracted. Shareholders worry I'm happy? Vanessa's voice cut like ice. How does my dating life affect quarterly earnings? It's not about earnings. It's about judgment. After your divorce, say what you actually mean, Peterson. Silence. Then, some believe a blind CEO in a new relationship shows impaired decision-making. Vanessa stood slowly. Impaired decision-making? I've grown this company 40% since losing my sight. Stock is at an all-time high, but because I'm dating someone, I'm suddenly incompetent? That's not. Or is it that I'm dating someone who isn't wealthy, someone who actually loves me instead of my bank account? Does that threaten you? Peterson's chair scraped. The board will vote on your position next month. I suggest you prepare. Vanessa smiled coldly. When I suggest you remember who owns 67% of this company. I am the board, Peterson, and you're fired. Chaos erupted. You can't. Watch me. Maya, draft the termination. Effective immediately. She walked out to stunned silence. In the elevator, her composure shattered. Maya caught her as her knees buckled. They're trying to take everything, Vanessa whispered. They can't. You own not the company, my choice. They want me alone and small and grateful just to exist. Maya's jaw set. What do you need? Vanessa straightened. Call Liam. Tell him I'm coming over and that I'm done hiding. I need to tell you something, Vanessa said, curled against Liam on his couch. Okay. The board is weaponizing us. You. They're saying my judgment is impaired because I'm dating again. Liam's arm tightened around her. Do you want me to step back? If it helps. No. Her hand found his. I want you to meet them at the shareholder gala next week. I want them to see that I choose you, not despite my blindness, because of who you are. Vanessa, are you sure? I spent 3 years hiding who I was to make Daniel comfortable. I'm done hiding. She turned to face him. Unless you don't want, he kissed her, deep and sure. I want everything with you, he said against her lips. Even the scary board meetings. She smiled. They're terrifying. Good, I like a challenge. The ballroom glittered with wealth and judgment. Vanessa stood at the entrance. Liam's arm linked through hers and felt the room's attention shift like a predator catching scent. You okay? Liam whispered. No, but I'm doing it anyway. Maya appeared beside them. Half the board is already staring. Peterson looks like he swallowed glass. This is going exactly as planned. Good. Vanessa lifted her chin. Let's give them something to talk about. They moved through the crowd, Liam describing the room in quiet detail, guiding her seamlessly around tables and clusters of people. Not like a caretaker, like a partner. Mrs. Chen, a sharp voice. Thornton, the CFO. I see you brought a guest. I brought my partner, Vanessa corrected smoothly. Liam Foster, award-winning architect. He designed the accessibility features for the new Singapore headquarters you all approved last month. Thornton's expression flickered. Surprise, then calculation. I wasn't aware. No one asked, Vanessa smiled. Liam, this is Richard Thornton. He's very concerned about my personal life affecting my professional judgment. Perhaps you can reassure him. Liam extended his hand. Mr. Thornton, I promise I have no interest in running a tech company. I just design buildings and make Vanessa laugh. If that threatens quarterly earnings, I'd love to see the data. Several nearby guests chuckled. Thornton's jaw tightened. Enjoy the evening, he said stiffly, walking away. That was perfect, Maya murmured. That was the easy part, Vanessa said. The hard part is, Vanessa. The voice stopped her cold. Daniel. She turned toward the sound, every muscle tensing. What are you doing here? I'm a guest of Peterson's, consultant on the merger. His voice was closer now. We need to talk. We have nothing to... Please. Something raw in his tone. 5 minutes, just the... Please. Liam's hand tightened on her arm. Vanessa. She wanted to say no, wanted to walk away. But something in Daniel's voice, desperation, maybe, or grief, made her pause. 5 minutes, she said. Liam, I'll be right back. I'm not leaving you alone with him. Then stand where I can hear you breathe. But let me do this. Liam hesitated, then stepped back slightly, close enough to intervene, far enough to give space. Daniel led her to a quiet corner. She could smell his cologne, the same one he'd worn throughout their marriage. It made her stomach turn. You look good, he said quietly. Don't. I'm sorry, You do. Happy. Happier than you ever looked with me. Was there a point to this conversation? Daniel exhaled shakily. I made a mistake. The biggest mistake of my life. And I know I don't deserve forgiveness. But I need you to know. I see it now. What I lost. Who you are. Who you always were. Vanessa's hands clenched. You see it now? After 3 months? After you called me a burden and threw away our marriage because I couldn't see anymore? I was scared. You were cruel. Her voice shook. You looked at me, your wife, and decided I was worthless because I lost my sight. Not because I changed, because you couldn't handle being married to someone who needed help, who wasn't perfect anymore. I know. No, you don't know, because if you knew, you wouldn't be here asking for forgiveness. You'd be living with the fact that you destroyed someone who loved you and letting them move on. I still love you. The words hung in the air like smoke. Vanessa laughed, bitter, broken. You love the idea of me. The billion-dollar CEO you didn't know you married. The version that makes you look good at galas. But you don't love me. You never did. That's not true. Then tell me one thing you love about me that has nothing to do with what I look like, or what I've accomplished, or how I make you feel about yourself. Silence. Vanessa nodded. That's what I thought. Vanessa, I'm with someone now. Someone who sees me, actually sees me, not despite my blindness, not because of my money, just me. The messy, scared, still healing me. And he stays. I want to stay. You had your chance to stay. You chose to leave. Now you live with that choice. She turned to walk away. Daniel's hand caught her wrist. Please, I'm begging you. Give me another chance. I'll do better. I'll let go of her. Liam's voice was quiet, lethal. Daniel's grip tightened. This is between me and my wife. Ex-wife, Vanessa corrected, yanking her arm free. When if you touch me again, security will escort you out. Or Liam will. Your choice. Daniel looked between them. Vanessa's cold fury, Liam's protective stance, and something crumbled in his expression. You really love him, he said quietly. Vanessa's breath caught. Did she? She thought of Liam's hands building accessible spaces, his voice reading her contracts at midnight. The way he described sunsets not as colors, but as feelings. The way he'd held her wedding ring like it mattered because it mattered to her. Yes, she said. I really do. It was the first time she'd said it out loud. Liam's hand found hers, squeezed gently. Daniel's face twisted. I hope he breaks your heart the way I did, so you know how this feels. He won't, Vanessa said simply, because he's nothing like you. She walked away, Liam beside her. Ian didn't look back. Vanessa stood outside, hands gripping the railing, breathing hard. That was, Liam started, awful, necessary, overdue. She turned toward him. Did I really just tell my ex-husband I love you in front of half the Shanghai business elite? Technically, you told me. He just overheard. Liam, do you mean it? His voice was soft, hopeful, terrified. Vanessa's hands found his face, fingers tracing the lines she'd memorized by touch. Strong jaw, slight stubble. The scar above his left eyebrow from a childhood accident he'd told her about. I'm scared, she whispered. I'm scared you'll realize I'm too much work, too damaged, too... Stop. His forehead pressed against hers. You're not too anything. You're exactly enough. And I'm not going anywhere. You can't promise that. Watch me. He pulled back slightly. Vanessa Chen, I love you. I love your brilliant, terrifying mind. I love how you navigate board meetings like a warrior. I love that you memorize my coffee order after one breakfast. I love your scars because they're proof you survived. And I love that you're letting me be part of whatever comes next. Vanessa's breath shuddered. I love you too. So much it terrifies me. Good. Love should be a little terrifying. Means it matters. He kissed her, slow and deep and full of promise. Behind them, the ballroom doors opened. Maya's voice. Hate to interrupt, but the board vote is starting. And Vanessa, you're going to want to hear this. Peterson stood at the podium, face smug. As interim board chair, I move that we restructure leadership. Mrs. Chen's recent personal distractions warrant point of order. A new voice, elderly, female, commanding. The room went silent. An old woman approached the podium, late 70s, elegant, moving with the kind of authority that came from decades of making men listen. Grandmother? Vanessa whispered. Mrs. Lin Chen, the woman said, voice carrying, founder of Chen Industries, primary investor in Vertex Innovations, and holder of 15% voting shares, which I'm transferring to my granddaughter effective immediately. Peterson went pale. You can't. I can. I will. My granddaughter built this company from nothing. She survived a useless marriage, a devastating illness, and this board's pathetic attempts to undermine her. And she's thrived. Her eyes swept the room. Any vote to remove her is a vote against me, against the Chen family, against the future of this company. She turned to Vanessa. Come here, child. Vanessa moved forward, Maya guiding her. Her grandmother's weathered hands took hers. You think blindness makes you weak, the old woman said loudly. But I've watched you lead with more vision than most people with working eyes. You see people. You see potential. You see what matters. She squeezed Vanessa's hands. And you finally see yourself. That's worth more than all the sight in the world. Vanessa's eyes burned with tears. The vote is called, her grandmother announced. All in favor of Mrs. Chen's continued leadership? A wave of hands. Opposed? Peterson, 3 others. Motion fails. Meeting adjourned. The old woman smiled. Now someone get me champagne. I'm celebrating my granddaughter's brilliance and her excellent taste in men. The room erupted in applause. Liam and Vanessa lay tangled together on her couch. To the city lights they couldn't see painting the windows. Your grandmother is terrifying, Liam said. She likes you. That's worse. Why worse? Because now she'll expect grandchildren. Liam laughed. One crisis at a time. Vanessa traced patterns on his chest. Thank you. For what? Seeing me. When I couldn't see myself. Vanessa, he tilted her face up. You were always there. I just reminded you. I love you, she whispered. I love you too. Even though you're definitely going to be the scary CEO at all our future events. Our future events? Well, yeah. I'm not going anywhere. You're stuck with me now. She smiled, genuine, unguarded, free. Good. I like being stuck with you. They kissed under invisible stars. And for the first time since darkness took her sight, Vanessa Chen felt like she could finally see clearly. And the school in Thailand was finished. Vanessa stood in the sensory garden, hands trailing through water features while children's laughter echoed around her. Liam's design had become real, a place where blindness wasn't a limitation, but just another way of experiencing the world. Mrs. Foster? A small voice, one of the students. Vanessa smiled at the name she was still getting used to. Yes? Can you help me find the jasmine? I want to know what it smells like. Of course. She extended her hand. Let's find it together. As they walked, Liam watched from across the garden, talking with the principal. He caught her laughing, free and bright, and felt his chest tighten with love. Maya appeared beside him. She's happy. She deserves happy. You both do. Maya smiled. Thanks for not being an idiot like the last one. Low bar, but I'll take it. Across the garden, Vanessa found the jasmine with the student, both of them breathing in the scent. And though she couldn't see the flowers, she could feel their beauty. Some things, she'd learned, you don't need eyes to see. Love, hope, worth, future. Those things lived in the spaces between sight and blindness, in the touch of a hand, the sound of laughter, the feeling of home in someone's arms. Vanessa Chen had lost her sight, but she'd found herself. And in the end, that was the only vision that mattered. If you've made it this far, you've witnessed something rare, a love that sees past surfaces, past ability, past everything the world says matters, to the truth underneath. Vanessa didn't need to see to be seen. She just needed someone brave enough to look. And if you've ever felt invisible, broken, or not enough, remember you are more than what you've lost. You are everything you've survived. Thank you for staying with this story, for believing in second chances, for understanding that sometimes the greatest vision comes from learning to see in the dark. This was more than a story. This was a reminder. You are loved, you are seen, you are enough.